Welcome to day 2 of Shelter in Place, College Station Edition. We are back in my car for another short devotional. It actually smells kind of like old leather and oil with a hint of gasoline in here, which is pretty much my nirvana. So we can do as many of these as you guys want. For today's devotion, we're going to talk about our emotions and how to process them biblically and help our kids to do the same. Some Christians assume that we are required by God to feel positive emotions all day, every day. So, good Christians should feel joyful and content and confident at peace all the time. Well, frankly, that's hogwash. That's not how life works. As authentic human beings made in the image of a God who is deeply emotional, our God experiences deep emotions, including negative ones. Just check out the book of Hosea for proof of that. God designed us to feel a wide range of emotions, including sadness and worry and anger and grief, exactly what many of us are feeling in this pandemic. And here's the key: you are not guilty for feeling those strong negative emotions. In the book of First Kings, chapter 19, the prophet Elijah ran for his life from a wicked queen named Jezebel who wanted to kill him. So Elijah literally runs off to the desert where God meets him. And Elijah cried out to God in verse 4. He said, "I've had enough, Lord. Just take my life." Elijah was so overwhelmed by fear and sadness that he just wanted to die. Now, some people are uncomfortable with that idea. I mean, good Christians don't feel that way, do they? Well, yes, sometimes we do, and that's okay. And I find it really interesting that in the midst of that grief and sadness, as intense as it is, God doesn't judge him. God doesn't discipline him. Instead, the first thing God does is feed him. God provides a meal for Elijah right there on the spot. Then God puts him to sleep for the night so he can get some rest. Then Elijah wakes up and God feeds him again. And then God lets Elijah express his emotions and vent his frustration. And so here's what I learned from that: God is not upset or unsettled by the strong negative emotions that we feel in the midst of this crisis. He made us emotional creatures, so it's okay to feel these emotions. You need to be a little bit more like God and give yourself permission to feel those strong negative emotions without guilt or shame. In our house, we have a saying we remind of each other of often. It is okay to feel whatever you feel. You can't control your emotions. God doesn't judge you for your emotions. So you need to give yourself permission to emote, to express your feelings without guilt. That will in turn free you up then to step back and prayerfully consider, why am I feeling this way? And what can I do to address these feelings? Maybe there's some truths in scripture that can help me in this crisis. Maybe I just need a good meal like Elijah did, or maybe I need to reach out to a friend or a counselor. But if you try to suppress those negative feelings because you feel guilty about them or ashamed of them, then you're never going to get to the productive work of discovering the truths and the help that you need in order to move forward. So give yourself the freedom to feel what you feel without guilt. And parents, please, let's do the same for our kids. Julie and I are already noticing that one of our children, the more social one, is really struggling with the loss of time with friends, and that's coming out as strong anger and grief, and sometimes it's leading to bad behavior. And my temptation is to jump on that and discipline that, but I'm trying to remind myself that for some of our kids, they're experiencing negative emotions they have never felt before, grief or loss or fear on a scale they've never experienced. And so we need to be extravagantly gracious with our kids at this time, and we need to give them the same freedom that God gave to Elijah, to feel what they feel and to express those emotions and work through those emotions without guilt or shame. It is okay to feel whatever you feel right now, even if it's anger or fear or anxiety or despair. It's okay for your spouse to feel that. It's okay for your kids to feel that. God is big enough to handle all of our emotions, even the negative ones. And so give yourself freedom to feel what you feel without guilt. so that you can then process those emotions and discover the truths and the counsel that you need in order to move forward. Now, if you're having trouble emoting or expressing your feelings, I encourage you listen to the song Children Come Running by the band The Dust of Men, but you should buckle up because you're going to feel some stuff. All right, well, God bless you guys. Till next time in the garage, grace and peace.